Hello, everyone. I'm going to share with you what exactly surrendering means. You hear all the time about how we need to surrender to overcome our challenges, which is absolutely true. But yet, most people really don't know what that even means. And that's what's been coming up a lot with my community and people who I'm having conversations with. And I feel like there's definitely a need to talk more about this. So, I'm going to share with you what surrendering looked like for me when I was going through my health challenge. It's so easy in this work to judge ourselves if we're not perfect, if we miss a day, or if we don't meditate as many times as we had planned, or if we lose our cool, if we go unconscious and we forget who we're being. It's okay. That's part of the journey. And so is comparing with other people. It's normal to do it because most of us do, but then that's part of doing this work is recognizing it, becoming aware of it when we start to do that. And that is when we can choose to bring ourselves back to the present moment because we don't want to continue to let that run our program. Because when we're comparing with someone else, normally we're judging ourselves or saying something negative to ourselves about where we are and where they are, thinking maybe we're not good enough, or maybe they are better at it, or we're unfortunate or a victim. It's all in the way that we are perceiving the situation and the energy that it winds up creating in our body, because that is our main focus. We are in this line of work in what we're doing and going within and becoming aware of our conditioning and then changing so that we are no longer continuing to be that same person with that same energy. We're changing our energy. So every time we judge ourselves or every time we wonder when it's going to happen already, start getting impatient and looking at the calendar and saying, it's been this long, I've been doing the work for this long, I should already be healed. All of that, it winds up causing resistance in the journey of healing. It gets in your way and it could keep you stuck because you're generating a vibration that is equal to lack or scarcity and not having what you want. When you're constantly looking for evidence or saying, when is it going to happen already? Or when symptoms come up, telling yourself, oh, this must mean that I'm not healing myself. It's not working. When you have those types of thoughts coming up and you accept and believe them, it keeps you in that low vibration energy of lack, of not having it, of keeping you away from it, because it's not in alignment with the energy of having it. So the reason why it is so important to surrender is to release the resistance so it stops getting in your way. So I'm going to share with you some ways that you can start practicing or getting or of understanding even more what surrender really is. So when people say surrender, it's surrendering to what is, surrendering to this present moment, because everything that's happening right now in this present moment is meant to be happening. And instead of resisting it and judging it and saying, no, this is not okay, this needs to be gone now, and, staying in that state of fear and constriction, because that's really what that is. When you have that mindset of this has to be gone now, or what if I'm stuck with it forever? What if I can't heal myself? All of those types of conversations that you might have in your mind, by getting caught up in it, it winds up causing that low vibration energy, which is not what we want. So when we start teaching ourselves and practicing the art of surrendering, and it really is an art because it takes a lot of practice, it is not easy. Believe me, it isn't easy. And nobody's perfect at it either, other than those ultra enlightened like Eckhart Tolle and Michael Singer. And of course, we all can get that to that place too. But it truly does take a lot of discipline and a lot of commitment. So When I say discipline, I'm referring to just simply practicing stillness every day. Practicing stillness will enable you to start to be able to notice, become more aware of when the resistance starts popping up. Every time you start to have something trigger you and you start recognizing it's affecting you, it can look like being more aware of the constriction in your body. It can look like being aware of your heart is starting to palpitate, or your breath is starting to get shallow, or you start to feel a tension in your neck. All of these are signs that you're in that state of fight or flight, or that you're reacting to something, that you have something to be fearful of, that you have to brace yourself. That is the state that we want to be hypersensitive to, because as soon as we are aware of it, that is when we can do something different. And when we surrender, we are bringing ourselves to the place of knowing that everything is happening for our greater good. Having that faith of knowing that this is all meant to be this way. This is all happening for my growth, for my spiritual evolution, because that's truly what challenges are here for. So when we change the way that we're viewing everything that doesn't go right in our life, especially our most painful challenge, that is when we can stop the suffering about it. You see, the suffering really comes from the thoughts about it, from all the resistance. That's what causes us to suffer. When we are judging it and saying, this can't be, now I can't do this. What am I going to do? All of the messages that our ego is feeding us, when we accept and believe those and identify with them, we become that level of energy. We become the fear. We become the vibration of doubt when we are believing those thoughts. So the key here is to separate from those thoughts. But the way that we do that is by bringing ourselves to the present moment. That is the escape route. That's the exit door. You bring yourself to the present moment, which will then separate who you really are, your true presence, from the egoic thought patterns that are constantly feeding your mind. And you get to choose whether you continue to be that person that believes those thoughts and then reacts to them and stays living in that energy, or whether you get really good at doing this work of bringing yourself to the present moment every time you're aware that you're feeling triggered or fear or any low vibration emotion. And when you come to the present moment, that is where you will then have a choice of whether you choose to continue to identify with those thoughts or you choose something different. And the different thing that you can choose is choosing to surrender. When you surrender, you are basically having faith. You are choosing to have faith instead of fear. That's basically what surrendering is. And when you align with faith, you're no longer afraid, because faith and fear can't exist simultaneously. So when you are truly bringing yourself to that state of presence and reminding yourself, that is not my story. I am not going to allow myself to be subject to this kind of vibration, this life that it brings with it. No, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose to take my power back from that fear, from that egoic mindset. And I am going to choose to remain right here in the present moment. And I am going to choose to have faith in knowing that right here is all that really exists. In the now, right this moment, is the only thing that is real. Everything else is just a mind concept. And so I'm going to choose to exist right here and know that I am totally safe in this moment. And I know that I have so much to be grateful for. And that is what I'm going to put my attention on. And I also know that this challenge is here to serve me, that it is here so that I can go within and do this work and learn how to surrender, learn how to have faith, and learn how to connect to the divine part of me that has been ignored up until now. I know that this is why this challenge is here, so that I can step into the greatest version of myself. And I'm going to surrender to that. I am going to focus on the journey instead of the outcome. I'm going to focus on using every day as practice to continue to surrender more and more, to catch myself more and more, and bring myself to present and remind myself to relax into the moment instead of getting all caught up in the fear, to instead do the opposite, to train my body how to relax even in the face of these egoic thoughts, to separate myself from them and not let them dictate my future, not let them dictate my current state of being. I get to choose. And it's true for all of you, everyone, all of us. We all get to choose. So when you practice stillness every day, and that could be in the form of meditation, which is extremely powerful. You can just go outside in nature and just sit and practice bringing your attention to the present moment, noticing every time your thoughts start to come in, and instead bring your attention back to the present moment, not, just let the thoughts go by, not give them your attention. And when we do this, we develop our abilities to catch ourselves and to be more aware when the resistance starts to come in instead of getting identified with it. And each time that we start to be aware of the resistance, of the fear, of the doubt, each time bring ourselves to this place of relaxation and presence. And that is the way to surrender, to remind yourself that everything that's happening is for your greater good, and having faith in your healing, and having faith in knowing that it's coming, that it's already here. Your body just needs to catch up, because as you align with that energy of yourself already being healed and how that feels, that is going to bring it forth even more. That's how you're calling it in. So the moment that you recognize that you are out of alignment with the version of yourself that's already healed, then that's the moment to fully surrender and say, no, this is my new practice. Every day I'm practicing aligning with my higher self who's already healed. And anything that feels out of alignment, especially I'll be noticing when I'm in the midst of my old triggers, such as when I go to the doctor and I have to hear him tell me for the millionth time that there's no cure, or when I have to go out in public and I'm conscious of how people are looking at me. All of that gets in the way, or when I'm feeling like a burden because I'm having to be cared for by my loved ones and I feel guilty. All of that gets in the way. So when you surrender, you fully surrender to it all. Every time you notice feeling like a burden or feeling like, a victim, every time that comes up, bringing yourself to the present moment and surrendering, knowing that my healing is already done. This is how I'm doing it, by surrendering, by getting rid of the resistance, and instead focusing on my attention on all the things that make me feel really good and changing my perception. So all of this is, there's a lot involved, but surrendering, changing your perception is a whole nother conversation. And of course, that's the reason why I have a course and why I have a program, because it's not something that you just hear and then you're like, oh, okay, got it. No, it takes repetition over and over again. It takes unique situations. It takes support in having people around you who know how to handle it when you're triggered, so that they can support you and help you to bring yourself back to feeling balanced and centered and empowered. And we can all do this. It really just takes a lot of practice. So for me, surrendering looks like just this. Like if I was going to do like a physical, this is surrendering. Just my arms are back. I'm just, universe, God, divine, take the wheel. You got this. I don't need to be in control. I don't need to know the hows. I don't need to know the whens. I don't need to know any of that. I'm going to just believe that it's happening, that it's done. And I'm going to continue to stay in that energetic vibration, continue to feel those emotions of how it will feel when it truly is done in this 3D reality, because I know that this is all happening for me. And thank you for giving me this blessing I know it's hard to say that right now, but you are going to be saying that when you're on the other side of it and you realize all of the gifts that it's already given you. So that if I was able to give you all an action step, that's how I would end this video. So I'm going to do that right now is I'd like you all, everyone who's watching, to write a list of as many, at least 10, but it could go as long as you want, of as many gifts that you've received from this challenge already, how it's already changed who you're being, or what it's already brought to you in your life, how it's already given you an additional level of gratitude, or how it's allowed you to see that someone in your life was really there for you and is a true friend or a true partner. You know, these are the gifts. So by keeping track of all the gifts that you're receiving from this challenge is another way to ease into surrendering, because you can see that it's already been serving you. You're already growing from it. You're already becoming from it. So allow yourself to remind yourself of that. Just continue every time you need to surrender. Remind yourself you are just receiving gifts from it. This is enabling you to learn this process of surrendering, letting go of control. And then for the entire rest of your life, you're going to be grateful for who you are becoming and the ability to create the life that you really love. And that's what this is doing for all of us in doing this work. So with that being said, I'm going to end this video, and I really hope that this has served you. And I hope that you have a clearer understanding of surrendering. You know, it's basically letting go of any resistance to the current situation, focusing on the gifts you're getting from it, and letting faith take over, just staying in a constant state of faith. Okay? Mwah. Love you all.